Offering to wager is the last recourse of the frustrated. Paul Ehrlich once said that he'd take 50-50 odds on England not existing by the year 2000. That inspired Julian Simon to propose a different bet. His critics, including Paul Ehrlich, could choose up to 5 raw goods, a time period of more than 1 year, and at the end of that time period, they would adjust the price for inflation and see if those goods were cheaper or more expensive. Julian Simon put up $1,000, and the stakes would be equivalent to the ultimate price difference of the 5 goods. Paul said, "The lure of easy money can be irresistible." So he consulted with a couple of his colleagues, and he chose 5 metals: chrome, copper, nickel, tin, and tungsten, and a time period of 10 years. Over that decade, Ehrlich and Simon would trade barbs as they waited for the results of the bet. Ehrlich would compare Simon to a flat earther, while Simon would say, "How often does a false prophet have to be wrong before they lose their title?" Finally, the results were in. All 5 goods were cheaper after adjusting for inflation. 3 of them were cheaper before adjusting for inflation. Simon won $576.07. Paul Ehrlich couldn't bear to sign the check, so his wife and colleague Anne Ehrlich did it instead. In that decade, the population did increase by about 800 million people, but innovations made each metal cheaper. Plastic containers and aluminum cans replaced tin cans, which collapsed the International Tin Council, a price-setting cartel. New nickel mines were found, which ended a Canadian company's global monopoly. Copper wires were replaced with glass cables. Russia entered the global chrome market after the fall of the Soviet Union, and China also sharply increased their exports of chrome. I couldn't find a good explanation for why tungsten was cheaper, but it was. Simon offered to bet again, but raised the cash pool to $20,000. Paul Ehrlich said no thanks. Now, experts still disagree about what lesson we should take from the bet. Defenders of Paul Ehrlich say that Julian Simon was more lucky than good, and that if the bet was for longer or shorter or on different goods, then Paul Ehrlich most likely would have won. Whereas Julian Simon defenders say that if you adjust the prices of the goods to time prices, then Julian Simon would have won across most decades for which we have data, excluding times we're at war. There are many ways to slice up history and see differing results, and some of those ways are definitely better than others. But when 2 experts bet on their ability to predict the future, they agree on what a fair bet is, and then one of them wins clearly and decisively, we ought to believe that that expert is more able to predict the future. It's just the safer bet.